Well, good morning, everybody. I appreciate the time you've chosen to give today towards educating yourself about solar, and I'm honored that you are here. It's my goal that you will leave with all of your most important questions answered about solar, and hopefully to convince you that going solar now is the most financially sensible decision you can make. I'm going to ask that you stay muted with your videos off during the presentation. And if you have any questions, please put them in the chat and I'll address them at the end. So let's get started. Why do you want to go solar? Here are the top 5 reasons that I find homeowners are asking for solar. First, they want to replace an expense with an asset. If you're paying an electricity bill, that's a monthly expense. But if you buy solar panels, that turns that monthly expense into an asset. Instead of spending money each month, when you go solar, you're actually investing it into something that will add value to your home. Which leads me on to this question. How many of you have investments? How many of you have investments in the stock market, retirement funds, CDs, savings account? Well, an investment in solar is currently returning somewhere between 10 to 20%. And are your investments doing that well right now? Well, if not, then maybe underperforming investments in any portfolio you might have might be a good place to get cash for a solar energy system. And the other reason you might want to do it, and that I'm finding homeowners are doing this, are control and predictability. Solar allows you to have a predictable energy payment each month. Some people like knowing ahead of time what they're going to pay and not be held hostage to electricity rates. Does that sound like you? And reducing environmental impact. Our planet is at a critical point where we really do have to start reducing our carbon footprint, and solar is a significant step you can take towards doing this. And did you know that rooftop solar is actually one of the top 10 proven solutions for actually reversing climate change? How many of you have this as a reason? And finally, to reduce electricity costs, solar just saves money. So who am I and why should you pay attention to me? Well, my education and training background comes from a master's degree in curriculum design from Columbia University and years as a corporate meeting facilitator and organizational development trainer. My consultative sales and technology experience was developed as a sales executive with IBM UK, where I helped major clients such as the London Stock Exchange, Standard Chartered Bank, and other large financial institutions implement their IT strategy with IBM products. I started my path into solar energy consulting in 2016 because it combined my love of technology and my teaching and training abilities to allow me to help homeowners in their journey towards going solar and to permit me to earn a sustainable income in a business that's closely aligned with my values and to let me do my part in taking a significant step towards making a positive impact towards climate change. And I'm also the author of the best-selling Amazon book, Go Solar with Confidence. I'll tell you more about that later. So what am I going to cover today? Secret number 1, how solar plus battery systems work. Secret number 2, what utilities companies don't want you to know. And finally, secret number 3, how to determine if solar energy is right for you. Here's a quick video about how solar PV and battery systems work.
The way battery backup works with solar is quite simple. During the day, your solar panels produce energy and send it to your panel box. You'll use some of this energy in your house, and if you have any excess energy, you'll begin to charge your battery. Once your battery is charged, any additional energy will flow back out onto the grid. At night, since you won't get any power from solar, you draw power from the battery, then from the grid, reducing the amount of energy you actually take from the grid as much as possible. New battery technology would allow you to coordinate with time of use rates. When the demand on the grid is high and the time of use rates are high, instead of paying the high rates from the grid, you'll use the energy stored in your battery at no cost to you. When the grid goes down, you'll be able to use the energy your solar system produces, as well as the energy stored in your battery, to power your home until the grid comes back. A battery is a giant step toward energy independence.
what solar plus batteries can't do for you. They won't allow you to go completely off grid, and they won't end your relationship with your utility. This is true for residential homeowners who are currently connected to the utilities. What they can do for you what they can do for you is that they can make you less dependent on utilities. How do they do this? By providing you with backup power, enabling time of use load shifting, and setting you free from rising costs. So let's look at these 3 points in a little bit closer detail. First, let's look at providing you backup power. Batteries and solar allow you to power your home when the grid goes down. By the way, when you go solar, and if you don't have a battery, if the grid goes down, you cannot use your solar. Why is this? Because this protects the linemen who might be working on your lines so that they don't get electrocuted as you send electricity back to the grid. Whole homes are essential loads. What do I mean by that? Well, depending on how many batteries you want, you can either back up your whole home, or you can just back up those things that are absolutely important to you when the power is out. Generally, if you're looking at essential loads, you'll probably want to do your refrigerator, communication devices, maybe your TV, some essential electricity equipment and appliances that you'd need during a power outage. One thing you probably wouldn't want to do is your AC. That takes a lot of energy and will very quickly drain your battery. So should you go with a generator, or should you just have a battery? Well, actually having both is probably a pretty good idea. If you already have a generator, you could use that to charge your battery during a power outage, thereby making the best use of both the battery and your solar generator. That way you're not burning gas all the time. So you might be able to get away with a smaller battery or smaller batteries rather than having a whole bunch of battery banks. The other thing though too is that the battery will allow you you can use a battery 365 days a year. With a solar generator, you're only looking at power outages. But with that battery, it's really important, especially during expensive time of use, to use that battery from 4 to 9 every day in most areas. So I have another workshop about this, which you can watch. Go on my website. It's upstartenergy.com. You can go to Solar Battery Secrets, and that's under the Learn section of my website, where you can learn more about batteries at that place. So we were talking a little bit, just a little bit now, about time of use load shifting. So batteries come with an app that let you choose and split between backup and time of use. So what is time of use load shifting? It's actually the ability to charge your battery from solar during the day, and you're going to discharge it in the evening when the grid prices are the highest. And you can see this graph showing you your electricity costs, and you take all that juicy electricity that you produce during the day, and you're going to use it at night, which makes an awful lot of sense instead of paying those high electricity rates. So that's a great idea. And what that does is it actually sets you free from rising costs. So this leads me on to secret number 2, what utility companies don't want you to know. The cost of electricity over time. So let's uncover what you're currently paying for electricity, how to calculate it, and what happens over time. We measure the energy our car consumes in gallons. We measure the electricity our home consumes in kilowatt hours. The price you pay per kilowatt hour depends on a number of variables, including how much energy you use and when you use it. Now, this can be really confusing on a bill, but let's see a simple way of calculating what you are paying on average for a kilowatt hour of electricity. This is a typical PG&E bill. Well, how many of you just look at this bill every month? How many of you look at it, or how many of you just grumble or pay it? Most people I know, in fact, half of my customers don't even look at the bill. They just pay it because you have to have electricity. So let's look and see how you calculate how much you're paying for this electricity. So let's have a closer look at this bill. If your bill is over $100 a month, you are using a lot of energy. This number of $100 is very quickly getting higher and higher as the electricity costs go up and up. But right now, it's still roughly around $100 a month. So let's have a look at these utility charges. What do you get for your money? So here are all the other charges that you're paying for the privilege of getting this electricity at $112 a month. What are all these costs there? Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, this generation cost, that's what it costs to actually make your electricity. The transmission cost is to get the electricity from where it's made to the distribution point. And then the distribution cost is to take it from the distribution point to get it into your house. And then there's a whole bunch of other charges on there too. Solar can help with all those, but let's look at this analogy to see exactly what this means. Well, let's look at a pizza analogy, right? How much does an average pizza cost these days? Somewhere around $20 or so. What if you ordered a pizza for delivery and the driver told you, that'll be $45, please, $20 for the pizza and $25 for the delivery? Do you think maybe next time you might drive down to pick up the pizza yourself? Well, one thing you probably would, but you can't drive down to the utility company to pick up your electricity. But you can bring the utility company to you by going solar. Okay, so let's move on now. You'll see that this bill has a big spike in July. In this case, it was house guests that they had. But this is a May bill, and it's actually about average for a typical month in this household. To get the cost per kilowatt hour, you only need two numbers on this bill. Take the total electric charges of $112.30, including all the extra fees, and divide that by the total number of kilowatt hours used, in this case, 522 kilowatt hours. Right here, let's see these two numbers, this way you find them. And then when you do that division, your price per kilowatt hour turns out to be 21, almost 22 cents a kilowatt hour. Now, this was back in 2018. Let's look at this first of all. Let's see what this looks like over time now. So this is a 12, this 112 is a 12-month average. That's what you're paying on average over the 12 months during this year in 2018. How much would you pay, did you pay in 2018 for the 12 months? If nothing rate went up, if none of the rates went up, you would have been paying $13.44. Let's just say, and then over 10 years, that would amount to $13,440. So let's just say there's only a modest 4% increase. That 13,440 goes up to 16,782. And if it's a more realistic 8% increase year on year, that's 21,000. And in 20 years, you would have paid at an 8% increase $66,424. Well, you bought your home because you wanted to be free from renting your electricity and more control over your life. So why are you still renting electricity from the utility companies? Oh, and by the way, this was a 2018 bill. I just got this bill a few days ago. So remember how we calculate the electricity costs? We divide the electricity charges by the total usage, and you'll see this cost per kilowatt hour is 43 cents a kilowatt hour. This represents over 100% increase since June of 2018. And it's actually a 21% increase since January 2023, as I actually had the January bill for this customer. And I compared the two, and that's a 21% increase. And it's not only me saying this, this is January 8th, this year, 2024. This is from the article. Homeowners across the Bay Area have seen their power bills climbing, but the latest request for an increase will reach a historic milestone, more than $300 for the average monthly PG&E bill. So far, the average overall bill for power and gas is up more than 13% since January of 2023. They haven't met my customers showing 21%. Anyway, so rates have skyrocketed by more than 75% in the last 10 years, while the rate of inflation was less than 30%. And guess what, PG&E people? There's going to be another hike raise in March. This PG&E have been able to get away with this by death through 1,000 cuts. They've had multiple small increases over time. Don't you think it's time to tell them stop? Let me segue to a little story about Karen. Karen went solar with us a few years ago. Her average monthly electricity bill before solar was $161. Her estimated cost of electricity over this 25 years was about $80,474. And that was with a 4% increase, by the way. Karen replaced her utility payment with a solar loan payment for an immediate return on investment. So instead of paying $161 to her utility company, she now makes a monthly solar loan payment of $124. That's a fixed rate payment, and this actually included upgrading her electrical panel, which was a fire hazard. Now, what do you think are some of the benefits that Karen receives by having gone solar? Well, first of all, Karen did not have to find the money to go solar. She just switched from paying her utility company $161 a month to paying $124 a month at a fixed rate for her zero down solar loan. Number two, she knows her $124 a month monthly loan payment will stay the same. So she knows in advance what she will be paying for electricity rather than praying every month that her electricity rates aren't going to skyrocket. Number three, at the end of her 25-year loan term, she owns a system free and clear except for her minimum meter charge. She will never pay for electricity again. Number four, her home increases in value, typically 3 to 5%, because she now has an asset on her rooftop that is effectively printing out cash. And finally, her loan has no prepayment penalties. So if she wants to, she can pay down her loan faster and get an even better return on her investment. So what's the number reason why people don't get started? Though, what did Karen realize? You already have the money to invest in zero down solar from the money you would have paid for electricity. In fact, that's so important, I'm going to say it again, and you can say it with me. You already have the money to invest in zero down solar from the money you would have paid for in electricity. This leads me on to secret number three, how to determine if solar energy is right for you and your home. Not every home is right for solar. Now let's see if you are eligible for solar and let's have a look at some of the best financing options available. We'll look at your bill, your home, your roof and shading, and your financial situation, specifically your credit threshold. Generally, as I said earlier, your bill needs to be somewhere around $100 a month on average for solar to make financial sense. However, if your bills are on the low side and you're anticipating any increased usage over the next 5 years, maybe you might want to run your air conditioner longer and for as cold as you like it. Maybe you're thinking about buying an electric vehicle. Maybe you have the kids coming home to live with you, or maybe kids moving out to go to college or something. Anyway, if this is the case, going solar today, even if your bill is low, could help you prepare for anticipated costs. First, now let's look at your home. Do you own or rent it? If you're a renter, you're going to need to talk to your landlord first about the benefits of going solar, because you need to own your own home or your landlord needs to be investing in it. Did your home stick built or is it modular or manufactured? If it's modular or manufactured, the biggest problem that you're going to have is that most building authorities aren't going to grant you a permit for going solar. There are some stipulations, and that's not entirely true. You might be able to get it if you, let's say your home is on a permanent foundation and you own the land. There might be some other restrictions as well. Also, if you use enough electricity, a ground mount might be possible in this case. So now let's have a look at your roof. First of all, let's look at the roof orientation, size, and shape. Is your roof facing in the best direction for solar? In other words, is there enough space for panels on the south side of your roof? The west side or the southwest side is actually turning out to be the best place to put panels because of the increased cost of electricity during the 4 to 9 hours. But we can also use the east side and even the north side now because of the efficiency of the panels. Let's look at your roof quality. Generally, your roof needs to be in good condition in order to install solar on it. Are the shingles intact or do they look worn out? If they're old and your roof needs replacing, this cost too might be able to be included as a part of your solar project and could also qualify for the solar federal tax credit. And solar access. Are there trees or obstructions that could create shade on your roof, especially in the afternoon and on the south or west side of the house? And how close are these trees to your home? These considerations are all going to play an important part as to whether or not your home is eligible for solar. So let's have a quick look at financing. How many of you think your home qualifies for solar so far? Even if you don't think it qualifies, you won't know exactly until you have a conversation with an expert. In any case, now it's time to get specific about your situation. What about financing? In the past, many homeowners paid cash for their solar energy systems. And you can still pay cash, and this is still the best return on your investment. Many people take money out of the risky stock market and other financial savings they have and invest it in this money into a solid investment in solar that's making money on their roofs every day. Many of them are seeing that 10 to 20% return on their investment, which can be much better performance and less risky than a stock market portfolio. For those of you without savings like these, today, innovative financing options actually make solar affordable. So affordable that this innovation in financing has accelerated solar adoption dramatically. A zero down loan or lease is an option for those who qualify. Generally, your credit score needs to be 650 or better for a loan, and we now have loan options for those with sub 650 credit scores. Let me show you an example now of how our zero down solar ownership program works. Let's meet Howard. Howard attended an in-person version of this webinar a few months ago and ended up with a top-notch solar system and a new roof on his home, and is able to take the tax credit for both, all while paying a few dollars less than his electric bill and locking in his monthly payments for the next 25 years. So what about leasing? A lease is another way to finance solar that you may have heard of. A lease is where the solar provider owns and is responsible for the solar array, and the homeowner pays for the use of the equipment. Let's look at this lease case study from my farm. Our 24-panel solar array serves the needs of 2 houses, a barn, and a water pump. We are paying $172 a month for this lease, which is roughly a monthly savings for us of $67 and a total savings over 20 years of the lease of over $64,000. This is a great deal for us, especially as electricity rates have been rising faster than that 4% assumption. So we're saving a ton of money. And this is the orchard house on our property. Look at the graph on the left. Can you guess which month we went solar? Yep, it's a good guess. And our total electric charge of $952 was the minimum monthly charge for the meter. And generally, all that we ever pay for electricity is that monthly meter charge. Let's look at a couple of questions I'm frequently asked now. What if I sell my home? Well, this happens all the time, and the solar industry has figured this one out. The loans or leases that we provide are easily transferable. Make sure, though, that your real estate agent understands solar. A solar array is not like any other fixture. Make sure they know how to position it, price, and list your home to show how the solar adds value. Make sure they work with an appraiser to educate them about the best appraisal methods to use for your solar home. A good real estate agent will understand the best options for you, whether to pay off your loan or lease at closing or to transfer it to the new homeowner. So when is the best time to go solar? Now. So why now? Because every month you pay a utility bill as an expense, you're wasting money that could have gone towards making a solar loan payment that is an asset and adding value to your home. Labor costs are also rising, which is a major part of the cost of your system. Don't wait for the technology to improve. It's not going to improve fast enough to overcome these cost increases. And as the popularity of solar grows, the financial, federal, and state incentives are shrinking. You want to make sure you can take maximum advantage of any incentives while they still exist. So you know what the number 2 reason is why people don't get started? I don't know if this is going to work for me in my home. Well, this all sounds great, but how do you know whether it's going to work for you? Well, I've given you some basic information today so you can know a bit more about you, your home, and its suitability for solar. You won't know for certain if your home is suitable until you speak with a solar consultant who can more closely look at your situation and give you a better assessment. So this is where I make my free offer to you. For any of you who you can take a screenshot of this page, follow the QR code. I suggest taking a screenshot and then following the QR code so you don't lose this. What that's going to allow you to do is anyone who books an appointment from me on this page for a time with me to see if solar makes sense for you, you will get a free PDF version of my best-selling Amazon book, Go Solar with Confidence. I wrote this book so that you could understand and know all the important questions you need to ask anyone, including me, when you go solar. So you'll be better educated no matter who you talk to about solar before you go solar. So you feel really confident when you're asking people like me these questions. So please take advantage of my free offer. I'm looking forward to speaking with you. This is a great opportunity for you to shift from dirty energy to clean energy. Rooftop solar is one of the top 10 proven solutions for reversing climate change. Why not invest in an asset instead of paying for an expense? And finally, reduce or practically eliminate your costly electricity bills. Solar just saves money and it's actually just great financial sense. Call or text me or follow through with that link if you have any questions or if you would like to have a deeper discussion. Thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to speaking with you soon.